Here in Dusseldorf at the TBE stand, chatting to Jose Vara. Jose, lovely to talk to you.
First of all, I want to thank. It's lovely to be here. It has been really this last 3 days. I've learned a lot. It is really very good to actually be able to represent TBE in this stand. So it has been really a very interesting 3 days. I don't know what I noticed in these 3 days that TBE is actually a very successful company, and it can attract a lot of people from all over the world. So I would say that there's been an amazing experience. The reasons to be here, well, I would say that because TBE is growing, and he wants to, let's say, have new markets, new customers. They actually have me here to speak with potential customers from Portugal, Spain, and also the South and Central America. That I would say that it is very important to actually go that way, because the actually proximity that I have with these countries makes at first. There is when someone comes to our booth, they need to be comfortable about it, and I think we can do that. We can explain in their own native languages what they want. We can listen to the details of actually what they want. We can actually show them some technical issues that are very important for them. We can show them that we are near to them. We can show them this is a company that always cares about the clients. We can show them that we are near to them, although we are in Ireland. We are all over the world. So it is. I think the main goals, the main objectives are actually accomplished in this first stage. We had some very good leads until now, so I suppose we'll have very good business. I'm talking about, of course, these countries, and I really hope we can go to stage 2, 3, 4, 5, and continue this. Well, this line, let's say, of business. Yeah.
And Joseph, chatting to you just before the interview as well, you're Portuguese, and that's one element of it all. But also, can I ask you your philosophy, your strategy in business? What motivates you as such?
What I found in Ireland, first of all, I think it's a wonderful place. I like really the people there. And there is actually some points that actually converge between, in some similarities that we can find between people from Portugal, from Spain, and from Ireland. And so I would say that, but said that, I think that there's a lot of space in terms of business. There's a gap between Ireland and these countries. I think, and I have detected, I have realized that there's a space here for business. My strategy is to actually close this gap. You're talking about special SMEs that want to enlarge their business, and they can actually think about these markets in terms of customers, but also in terms of partnerships. So that's the basic idea, my philosophy about business in general, if we think about all these countries. I think this will benefit both sides. I do believe that Ireland can actually benefit a lot to actually enter into this Latin markets, I would say, put it in general terms. Yeah.
And you're a great believer too in industry,
Yes. If you're talking about the several sectors, I do believe that any country has to have a very strong industry. It is very important. I mean, of course, the service sector is important. Of course, the agriculture is also very important, in the agro-industry especially. But if you want to be successful in a long term, you have to have a very strong industry.
And TBE in rural Ireland, south of Kilkenny City, have achieved that.
Yes, I think they're actually a very successful company. There's a lot of space still to grow, and it is incredible that actually they have made it a point. Not only they are successful, but they are successful in Ireland, in a small community. So that means that many other companies can do the same thing and follow the steps of TBE. So I do believe that this can be a start. This is definitely a reference, and it's very important for everyone that's interested in the welfare of the Irish and the Irish companies to look at TBE as a very good example, I would say.
And Jose, when you mention Latin countries, can you expand on that and expand on the philosophy of business, between Irish people and maybe the attractiveness of dealing with such other countries?
Yes, there is clearly potential for partnerships here, because many of these Latin countries we're talking about now, I think countries like Spain and Portugal, even Italy, or places like Brazil, in some sectors, in technological terms, they are very advanced. But still, I mean, there's a lot to be done in terms of actually the design and the innovation and the research and the marketing part. So all that part can be actually be done in Ireland. So I think the connection can work very well. I'm just saying this is working for TBE, so it can work for any other company, I'd say. So this is we have to think about your own business, since you're talking in general terms, and see if you cannot find the right partner in these countries. These countries still can have a labor-intensive work, what's very difficult in Ireland. But we can take advantage of that in certain ways, because the technology is there, the skilled people are there, and Ireland now can actually have their own industries with the suppliers from these countries, and then spreading their product, their marketing all over the world, their innovation. I would say that's mainly it. So I can see an interesting future. I could say even a bright future in this relation. Of course, it depends a lot if you are, let's say, sensitive to these areas. The main thing here is, if you want to have, let's say, a successful business, you have to look for on both sides, suppliers and customers, of course. And I think you can find both situations in these countries. You can find your suppliers, and you also can find a new market there. So at the same time, really, that's what TBE is doing actually. Yes. Because the part of the machine is made actually in Portugal, and they are finding that also Portugal is an excellent market. So there are definitely opportunities there. So,
And that's something you want to do. You want to obviously help TBE grow more in those markets as well as other Irish companies.
yes, definitely. What's happening in TBE can happen in other companies. These companies can actually grow with a strategy of their own, but following the same, let's say, scheme, the same strategy, the same ideas. But I would say that for that you also need to understand more about the culture of these countries. So many times what we think about that countries is not exactly what's happening in that country. So you should study, you should analyze, you should have people from that countries actually to give you the right ideas, to give you the right people, and also the possibility of knowing well that market.
Because even within the boundaries of a country, let alone the EU, regions vary.
Regions vary a lot. Even in a small country like Portugal, it's completely different from region to region. I'd say that if you, I can find in a few kilometers cultural differences in the way we actually do business. So it is really important to understand the country, the mentality, the way people do business, to have a successful business, and for the risk factor to be low. If you go to a larger country like Brazil, that's even a bigger issue. You should really have people that can understand the country and all the differences between yourself and that country. So it's a really important issue. I would say that you can be almost successful anywhere. You have to have just the right people, and you have to find your business there. But it is possible. It's just a question of your strategy and the way you are investing your capital, really. So another thing that's important about TBE is that they know perfectly well that in all these paths, in all this, let's say, in all these steps, there must be investment. The investment in marketing, the investment of being in a trade fair, that's extremely important if you want to be in other markets, if you want to expand.
Yeah. Extraordinary. And you mentioned it earlier, there's every nationality here really for this week in Dusseldorf.
Yes. This is not really, well, it is in Dusseldorf, but it's a worldwide trade fair. It's not a German trade fair. So if you want to be noticed, if you want actually to be part of the industry, if you want to be successful, you have to be here. I mean, you have to be here probably in Asia, probably in South America, but you have to understand that it is important to invest in these trade fairs. Germany is clearly a very important place to be, since you have got people from all over the world coming here. You have to understand that it's not only the people that come to actually come to us, to speak with us, to have meetings with us. It's people that actually see us here. The people that after seeing us here, they go to they go home. They start actually looking at the contacts they have made. They go onto our site and they actually make some research about us. So this exposure, it's extremely important, really. From here, I would say that we have more 2 years of work with no problems. I hope so, at least.
And that's a good news story. Thank you very much, Jose.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure, really.